Good morning, Suma. All right, let me close that. So, welcome to Scripting Fridays. Today, we're going to actually do something a little bit different. It's not so much a script as it is a system. And it's a system for staying top of mind with your sphere and past clients. And that is a critical component to longevity in this industry. I take it from me because I failed miserably at the beginning of my career, but I've also been doing it for almost 40 years, between real estate and mortgage, over 8,000 clients. So I implemented this a little bit after the start, but wherever you are in your career, start it now if you haven't already. That means get a CRM, get people into your CRM, and then start, I'll say, touching them, because you want to have multiple touches through a variety of medium. And I'm going to share with you the system that I use. And then if you have things that you're doing that it's working for you, I'd love to hear those too. So let's dive in. Good morning, Allison. If I can get my screen to cooperate. All right. So I know you ladies know who I am, so I won't spend any time on that. So staying top of mind to generate referrals. And it's funny, we touched on this topic last week, and that's why I'm covering it. But guess what happened between last week and this week? I got 3 new listings, all from Sphere and past client referrals in 1 week. That's a pretty good week, right? So it works. It absolutely works. And the way I describe it to new agents is I want people to think of me for anything relating to real estate. I don't care if they are wondering where's the best place to buy a garden hose. Call me. Like it's truly that like breadth of information that I am happy to be the name that pops into their head, right? So if you set sail for that, you'll have enjoy the same benefits that I enjoy. And 80 to 90% of business comes from referrals if you're in this business for any length of time, right? And you're successful. Them are the facts. So, and the beautiful thing about referrals is there's this impugned trust that gets transferred from whoever's referring to you, right? If Susie is a past client of Allison and refers, to me, then I'm going to have the same trust that Allison had, right? Because Susie views her, and let's say it's Susie's relative that's moving to Seattle or whatever, right? But you get this head start on building trust with referrals because they're transferring whatever level of trust they have with the referrer, right? People forget realtor names within 1 to 2 years if you don't stay top of mind. I have what I call orphan clients in my database because I'll do a deal with somebody and I just assume that they're terrible at this. And so I start dripping on them and I convert those clients as well. So implement that in your business if you haven't already. Make it impossible for them to forget you, right? The key though is consistency. And it's not about being everything everywhere, right? It's from having multiple contacts through multiple forms of media along the way. And I'm going to rattle through probably 10 different approaches. And I'll say it right now. You don't have to do all 10. Pick 3 or 4 and do them religiously, right? I love drip, don't drown, right? So first method, and I love this method. I've been doing this for most of my 40 years, handwritten notes. The beauty of a handwritten note is it's double the impact, right? I write a handwritten note every time I have a phone conversation. And what that does is usually when I have a phone conversation, I leave someone feeling, happy or at least informed, feeling good about the exchange. And then 2 or 3 days later, a little invitation-sized envelope shows up in their mailbox. And what happens? Endorphins get released again because they're thinking of me in a kind way, right? So it's old school, but it's still the most personable, right? You can do thank yous and birthdays, those sorts of things, but you can also do Allison and I know each other from the REO side of the world. We would go to REO conferences. I would keep a list of everyone I spoke with. And then when I got home, I'd write 25 personal notes or however many it was. And that would do the same thing, right? They'd go, yeah, I remember that guy. He was tall and bald, right? When's the last time you did that? Right? I have a right here. Right? It says, thank you. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. People will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. Right? And it says that on one side, but it's blank on the other. And I had a business partner. We both did this, and he wrote all his notes with Sharpie because he could fit fewer words on a card if he's using a big fat Sharpie, right? I'm not that way. I'll spend the extra 30 seconds to, be more detailed in my note, but do what works for you. You could do a Sharpie. Social media, another way to be top of mind, right? Show up as a human and an expert. That means be authentic, but also be a topical real estate related expert. So you're going to do a mixture of posts, right? Mix of real estate and lifestyle. People want to know the authentic you, not just that you listed a house or you sold a house. Like, think about that. How many agents post just listed and just sold? Consumers are so desensitized to those. It's an absolute waste of time. Don't do that. All right. 70-30 is the perfect ratio. They want to get to know you. So you're going to do more personal than business, right? Email newsletters. Great way to stay top of mind, whether they read it or not. They see it in their inbox from you. They're thinking of you. Short, visual, valuable, right? Monthly market updates can be included with homeowner tips. You can do seasonal stuff. That's a powerful message, right? And timely. Like if you lived in Minnesota, here's some tips and tricks to keep snow from accumulating in your driveway or whatever, right? Client events. I love client events. Builds community and memories. And here's the key, and put this in your notes. Every time you do a client event, institute some charity aspect to your event. Make it admission. You're coming to my barbecue, you got to bring a can of food, and we're going to give all of the cans to the local food bank, right? Or I do a Toys for Tots drive in early December, actually late November, right? You get to come and have food and drink and everything, but you got to bring a toy. And guess what happens? People come more likely to come because of it, because of the charity part. And do you know why? It's really a funny phenomenon, but I have these conversations every Toys for Tots drive. They decided in January that they were going to do more this year for the community. And then they get my invitation in October and they're like, crap, I haven't done anything. But if I go to Ed's event, I can check that box, right? It's powerful, and it makes them feel good. And guess what? That feeling gets transferred to you because you're the one putting it on, right? And you can take tons of social media and events or evidence, right? We actually have a 17 touch methodology for our client appreciation events. That's an email up front, text message reminders, an actual tangible card invitation. There's 7 or 8 things leading up to the event, and then there's 5 or 6 more after the event, even if they didn't go. Hey, Suma, I know you weren't able to attend the Toys for Tots event, but I wanted to let you know we gathered over 350 toys for families in need. Hopefully you can join us next year. I just wanted you to know it was a huge success and we had a great time, and I just missed you. Right? It's just another touch, another opportunity to stay top of mind. Life events. This is something you're probably already doing, but do you have a system built around it? How do you know when it's somebody's birthday or anniversary? Make it easy on yourself, right? That's the beauty of CRMs. They have a field for date of birth, and then they'll send you a notification that, hey, so-and-so's birthday is next week, right? So the more you use automation to supplement this, the easier it'll be on you. I'll give you a great example. One of those 3 deals in the last week, I sold them their house 10 years ago. And they've been getting notifications from me every month for 10 years. So who did they call? And I got to be honest, I haven't been great at phone calling because I don't have time blocked for that, but I should, right? But it still worked with automation. So you can send handwritten notes, cards, small gifts, even a call, right? Pop buys. Have you ever heard that term, pop buys? That's a Brian Buffini term. But you could literally go to the dollar store and get a thermometer for them when it's summer and it's 98 degrees in San Diego or Thousand Oaks, right? It's seasonal and it's fun, and you're just popping by. Hey, I was in your area. I just wanted to swing by. I got these thermometers, or I got these whatever. Literally the dollar store, you can buy 20 trinkets for $20 and give them away. If you really want to take it to the next level, put your logos on those trinkets, right? Here's a funny example of that. Carbon monoxide detectors are required, right? I give carbon monoxide detectors with a little sticker on them. That's my logo. Because my seller may not have them, right? And they're only, if you buy them in bulk, I get them for under $10 each. And it leaves quite an impression. And guess what? The buyer of the home now has something that reminds them that the listing broker on that house they just bought thinks of everything, right? So just an example of a way to leverage that. It's also a great conversation starter, right? I can go, hey, David, I'm going to be in your area tomorrow afternoon. Are you around? I just want to come by and say hi. And you'll say yes or no. And if you say, actually, I'm going to be at work, I'll say, great, that's fine. I'm just going to leave something on your stoop. I got a little trinket that is something kind of fun for you. You'll have to call me and let me know what you think. And then he'll be like, I wonder what it is, right? Homeowner check-ins. That's a great one. Where do I buy the carbon monoxide detectors in bulk? Online. I think I got them through Amazon. Homeowner check-ins are great for a seasonal reason to make a phone call, or also if there's some sort of natural event, like power outage. Hey, is your power back on? Or we had a bomb cyclone last year. That knocked out a lot of houses, right? So checking in on people's well-being, giving them advice on how to get, I had a generator repair guy that I found through social media, actually. And I referred him out to a bunch of my clients who had generators. That thing about generators, if you don't use them for years because the power doesn't get interrupted, then they don't start because you got stale gas, right? So read the room, decide what's valuable, or just do it periodically, quarterly, semi-annually, right? Share seasonal maintenance tips. You want them to think of you when they need anything, right? On my team, because I used to be a general contractor, we have a vendor list with over 200 subcontractors. So our agents are able to tell their clients, hey, when you need anything, call me, because I've probably got 4 or 5 roofers or plumbers or whatever it is you might need. If you haven't created that sort of list for yourself, start building it, but use something like Angie's List in the meantime, right? You want to get to where you've got your own list so that you can tell them, here's 4 roofers and my favorite is this guy or this gal, right? Get involved in your community, right? Especially like, when I'm coaching newer agents, I teach them a 3-pronged attack. Your sphere of influence is one of the prongs. Lead generation is another. And farming is the third. Well, farm the neighborhood you live in. Wouldn't it be better to have a bunch of listings that are walking distance from your house than to do like what I have a listing. I actually got to promote this yesterday in a Zoom meeting. I have a listing that's 100 miles away. It's a bank-owned listing, and I am in the habit of never saying no to bank-owned listings, foreclosures, right? Do you cover XYZ? Sure. Yeah. Right. And then you're like, shit, how far away is that? But you take the assignment because it actually created in that individual that assigned it to me. She thinks of me first for Washington now, for anywhere in Washington. And I won't say yes to like Spokane, which is 5 hours away, but I did get an assignment from a different client that's in Kennewick, which is 3 hours away. So you can pick and choose, right? I'm sorry for the tangent, but wouldn't it be better to not have to drive that far? Like I live in a nice neighborhood. I sold 2 of them last year and they were 2 million each. Like it's not a bad place to specialize, right? Plus every time somebody drives by your sign, you're top of mind, right? You can also step it up for your VIPs. We actually, we classify our database as A, B, and C. A's have referred. B's would refer if shown how, because the reality is a lot of people don't really know how to refer, and I'll come back to that. C's, we don't know yet. We have to ask, right? And we have a whole dialogue we use for C's. We call it the mayor campaign. That's actually another Brian Buffini script. It sounds like this. Hey, David, good to see you. Nice to meet you. Like maybe we meet at a dinner party that someone we commonly know puts on, and you invariably get into those. So what do you do? When people ask me, what do? I go, I help people get priority access to off-market properties before they hit the MLS or the internet. And I have a sell for free program for sellers. And this is where the mayor campaign starts. In fact, let me ask you, if you were thinking about buying or selling or had a friend or a family member that was, do you have an agent that you would refer them to? I'm not asking them if they're thinking of buying and selling. I'm asking, do you have a name in your head? Because I want that name to be me, right? Or mine. That's the mayor campaign. So if I want to treat my A's, which are people that have referred, like VIPs, I can give them exclusives, right? I can give them separate client appreciation parties that are maybe a little more spendy, but they're going to be treated like kings and queens when they come, right? I can help get them discounts at restaurants and just do the extra mile type stuff for people that I want to reward that behavior, right? I want to reward referrals. You should give them a reward when they give the referral and give them another reward when it closes. That's what I do, right? Those are my VIPs. And no, I'm not breaking RESPA. I'm not giving them trips in private jets like the image portrays. But I'll give you a $5 Starbucks card as a thank you for the referral in a handwritten note. And then when it closes, I'll give you a $25 one. Or maybe something in that price range to a restaurant somewhere or whatever, right? You can also have a annual family photo day, right? That could be a VIP. That could be for your A's. So if you haven't gone through and sorted your database, you should. Because the A's are the ones you should call once a month. B's you should call quarterly. C's you should call right away and use the mayor campaign and determine, are they going to be a B? They're either going up the scale or out, right? D stands for delete. So if I talk to a C and they say my mom is a real estate broker, delete, right? If they say my uncle's a real estate broker, it's game on. I don't try and poach when your immediate family member is a broker, but if it's non-immediate, I'm all over it because I know I'm better. And I had an agent on my team. He came to me a couple of years ago. He goes, dude, I just got somebody to fire their dad. And I went, wow. But that's because our value proposition is so powerful and differentiates us so much. In fact, maybe that's what we should talk about next week is the value proposition for buyers and for sellers. Would that be useful? All right, I'm writing that down. I'm writing that down, Allison, so I don't have to rewatch the video to remember what I mentioned. Market updates. This is just a portion of the thumbnail. I do a monthly market update, and I've been doing it every month for over 10 years. And all I do, in fact, I'll stop sharing my screen so I can look at you guys because it's even easier now. Autumn, are you pinned? Can you unpin yourself? Anyway, it's even easier now that we have AI, right? But here's how I do it. I will take our multiple puts out a press release every month. Here's what the stats are for the previous month. This many sales, this many new listings. This is the median home price. This is, everything. I have a prompt that I use with AI that I put into ChatGPT, and then I paste the press release. And it scans the press release, and it writes a fun and professional script, right? And you guys all know what prompt formats you should use, right? It's task, tone, outcome. And you can do that every time, right? I'm going to start sharing my screen since Autumn is monopolizing this screen. And if you guys want to see examples, you go to my YouTube channel, just look for Laine and you'll find it. And there's playlists because there's several hundred videos on there. Find the market update playlist and just watch one of the recent ones. This is July. So it just went out, right? It's for August, but it covers the stats for July. Now, this is what I touched on at the beginning. You don't have to do all of these things. Pick your top 3 or 4, right? And be consistent about it. And think about it. The email newsletter could be automated, right? In fact, I don't know if you guys ever go on Wendy Goss's Tech Tuesday. Tristan Almada did a whole training week before last on how he does his newsletter, and it's really slick. So I would encourage you to watch that video. He uses AI. He gets top topics and trends every morning out of AI, and then he uses those to create social media posts and his newsletter. It's pretty smart. All right. So your goal is to be remembered and not forgotten. Referrals come from staying connected, not selling, right? So your job, pick 3 today and start building your system. That's it. Any questions? How are we doing on time? Oh, okay. 3 minutes. I like it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. What do you got, David?
I thought someone would say something. So when you mentioned something, and I think you said this before, because sometimes things take a while for things to click in my head. But when people ask you what you do, the answer that you shared with us, that you share with them, is that something you have in writing? I really like it, and I'd like to kind of modify it to customize it right for me. But I think it's a great response. Instead of just saying, I'm a real estate broker, right? I think that's very smart how you answer.
It's in the launching pad training, which you have access to. And it's in the video. I have it on the screen, so you can just shoot a picture of it.
Launch pad. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's, I've been saying it that way for probably, over 20 years.
Oh.
And it catches people off guard, right? Because how many realtors they talk to that when they say, what do you do? They go, I sell real estate. I'm always trying to differentiate myself from here in Washington. David and I are on the same team together in the same market. You can tell we both have great views. But there's 30,000 of us in Washington alone. That's a lot of brokers, right? And the consumer doesn't see any difference in any of them. They think they're all the same. They are a vessel to open a door. And it doesn't matter who I call. So every time I interact with somebody, I'm demonstrating why it does matter. Right? You guys, you've heard me say this before, but I'll say it since we're recording this. I had a listing nearby that closed last month. That was 48 days on the market, and it still sold for full price. And I shared this story yesterday with a seller. I was sitting in their $3.5 million house trying to get hired. And I said, that result tells you 2 things. Number 1, I preached patience to my client because we never reduced the price in 48 days. And number 2, my client had a vastly superior negotiator on their team than that buyer did. And, it sounds like braggadocio, but it's not received that way because it's such a shocking comment that they go, yeah, that sounds like an understatement, right? And then they hired me. So now I have a new $3.5 million listing that's going to come on the market in the next, 30 days. So, it matters to differentiate yourself, and you can say a variety of different things to do that. And a lot of times you only have a short period of, short window of time to do it, right? I was on a Zoom yesterday, and actually Jesse, who's a leader of the Agent Collective, asked me, do you go slow or fast when you're cold calling? And I said, if it's a cold call, it's fast. You've only got like 5 seconds to grab their attention. So what are you going to say that grabs their attention? Well, that's the dialogue I just used is what I would say. If it's a buyer lead, I would talk about off-market properties. If it's a seller lead, I would talk about my sell for free program. If it's an agent, I would talk about how I'm going to double their volume. Would that help you? All right. You want to ask questions in a way that the consumer or the target would sound stupid saying no to you. So like what I often do with the off-market dialogue is I end it with, do you see how that would help you find a good deal? They never say no to that because it makes them look stupid, right? Hey, we have a system. We help people get priority access to off-market properties before they hit the MLS or the internet. Do you see how that would help you find a good deal? Yeah, great. When's a good time for us to sit down and I can gather your criteria? That's how you close for an appointment with a buyer, right? Hey, it just take 20 minutes. Oh, I'm very busy. All right, well, let's do it in 15 then. Like I'll squeeze it down to 5 minutes if that's what you need to hear from me. It's going to take whatever it takes.
Ed, I am curious what your sell for free method is.
So I've had a couple dozen deals where I have listed the house for free and gotten paid the listing commission on the house that they bought. And that's getting harder to do with the new NAR rules. So I don't imagine I'll be able to do it anymore, to be honest. But it's such a second nature habit. I actually probably need to come up with something else. I know that here in Washington State, I know the Senate Bill 5191 doesn't allow us to use the word free anymore, right? Because we used to say, you get all my buyer services, all my buyer brokerage, everything I just showed you, all for free because it's paid for by the seller. We're not allowed to say that anymore.
I did say that.
Yeah.
That sucks. Yeah.
Well, and the last thing is, I have still never been paid a nickel by a buyer. So it has been free.
Oh, okay. That's true. Yeah.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. And 100% of the time I do get the seller to pay for it. I think that was your line.
Yeah. And here's like, just since we're on the topic, if I'm only able to get the seller to pay me 1%, let's say, I still will accept that because it's more valuable to me to be able to look a buyer in the eye and say, I've never been paid by a buyer because I'm good at this and I'm good at getting paid by the seller. So I'll give it.
1% sucks.
I know. But it can happen.
Yeah.
And would I be bummed? Probably, but I wouldn't let my client know that I'm bummed, right?
Right.
I mean, but I mentioned earlier, I don't think you were on the call yet, David, but Allison and I met through the REO part of this industry. There's a lot of REO clients that only pay 1% or 1.5%, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have the listing I mentioned where I drove 100 miles each way. It's only offering 1% to buyers.
Please. Oh, to buyers or?
To buyers agents, yeah.
Wow.
That's not cool.
Yeah, but it's $2 million house, so it's still 20 grand.
Sure.
All right. Any other questions? I don't want to lose track of time.
Very nice. I have to follow my clients. Yeah.
Well, I hope you got some value out of this.
Yes.
Next week, we'll do a deep dive on the value propositions for buyers and sellers. I actually call them gold bricks. So let me tease it this way, because I'll probably say this next week anyway, but tell your friends to join us. Here's why I call it the gold brick. You want your value proposition for a buyer or a seller to be so compelling that they're willing to forego everything to come and meet with you, right? And that includes doing nothing, laying on the couch. You got to get them up off the couch. Well, if I called Allison and I said, hey, Allison, I've got a gold brick here for you. It's yours, no cost or obligation. You just have to come pick it up. Would you come and pick it up?
Sure. Yeah.
You guys know what a gold brick is worth right now? About $600,000, right? So
I would, but a lot of people, some people don't. What's the catch?
like, if you're a cynic, that's fine. You just lost 600 grand,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's a metaphor.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm talking to you about buying a house, I want to say words that are as powerful as those so that you want to meet with me, right?
Yep.
And so like, when I'm talking to agents on my team, I'll go, did you drop a gold brick on her? Well, I didn't have a chance. Well, you should never have an interaction without dropping the gold brick. All right, you guys. Awesome to hang out with you. Thank you for me time.
Thank
So-
you.
See you at 4.
Yes, I look forward to it.
See you at 9.
Yes, I look forward to that too.
If you'd like more information or to get connected to the Agent Power Huddle, join our free Facebook group. This call was designed for the agents in our EXP organization, but open to any agent from any brokerage. If you're a guest and you're interested in learning more about EXP or our specific resources within the Agent Collective, reach out to the person who invited you to this call to get more info. Produced by the Agent Collective Media Network.